So this one is for all the haters of the rainbow vomit out there. So if you're an RGB hater, this gaming PC build is for you. And by the way, it'll cost you less than $1,000 to complete and deliver a fantastic gaming experience. So starting off today's build is the Intel 10400F processor. Now this processor is 6 cores and 12 threads, and it's normally found for under $150. Now I was able to get this for $140 at my local Micro Center, but if you don't live near a Micro Center, don't worry. They're normally available for under $150 on both Amazon.com and Newegg.com. Speaking of which, I'll have links for all the parts down below. However, they won't be affiliate links because I tried affiliate links, but then Amazon told me I didn't have enough subs. But they still left the links active, so they're still making money off of it, but they're not going to pay me any money for it, so I'm not going to be able to put money into this channel and keep growing. Continuing on, today's motherboard will be the Asus Prime B460M-A. Now this is a budget gaming PC motherboard, however, since we won't be doing any overclocking on this locked Intel CPU, it'll work for us just fine. Moving on to the RAM, we have this 2x8GB kit of 3000 MHz XPG RAM. Now this is only running at 3000 MHz, but since this CPU only supports up to 2666 MHz, this will be just fine. No need to go buy a super expensive 4000 MHz kit of RAM for this CPU. For storage, we have the Team Group AX2 1TB SSD. Now this is a 2.5-inch SSD that I was able to pick up for only $80 and is probably the best value on the market at the time of this recording. Now keep in mind you could go with an NVMe drive and that would be just fine. It would save you some cable management. However, you won't see any gains in performance, so I would say just stick with the 1TB SSD that you can hide very well in this case. Speaking of which, we have the Montech Air 100 Lite for the case today. This comes with 2 pre-installed fans, 0 RGB, and a ton of cable management. Now this case was absolutely fantastic to build in with a ton of cable management features, and if you want to see what that looks like, check out my review here or somewhere in the description down there. Now I did decide to put in an aftermarket cooler instead of using the stock Intel cooler on this build, and I was able to pick up the ID Cooling SE224XT. I didn't make the name for that, sorry. But the cooler actually looks very good, completely blacked out for this build, and the performance was very good as well. Powering this build, we've got the Aries Game AVG 650. Now this is a 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply that I was able to pick up for $47. Now keep in mind, you could go with one of the 450 or 500 watt EVGA B-stock power supplies, and that would work just great for this build. However, I wanted to give a little bit of future proof in that any of the newer cards that come into stock are going to require a 650 watt or better power supply, and I didn't want the power supply to be a limiting factor in an upgrade path. And speaking of the graphics card, today we have the MSI GTX 1660 Ventus. Now keep in mind, I paid about $350 for this on eBay, and so it wasn't the greatest deal. However, with GPU prices being what they are nowadays, I felt better paying $350 for a 1660 than I did paying $500 for an RX 580 or GTX 1070. Alright, and those are the parts, and so that comes out to about $850 without taxes or shipping. Add in taxes, shipping, and a Windows 10 Pro key from a secondary site, and you're looking at right at $1,000 to replicate this build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get everything put together, see what she looks like. So I gotta say, the build came out nicely and looks really clean. Even without any RGB, I feel like it really came together, really looks very sharp. But of course you would know that already if you were in the PinkyTech Discord, but I'll go ahead and put the link down below so that you can see it again. Go ahead, I'll wait. Now performance on this computer was great as well, but I'm sure you're not gonna believe me or just take my word for it, so roll the benchmarks. I'll wait. Alright guys, post-production Joe here, and it looks like the latest update to Warzone is actually bricked MSI Afterburner, so all I can say is the gameplay was smooth. I'm not sure the FPS, but if I had to guess, probably somewhere between 80 and 100, and thank you Warzone. No anti-cheat, but anti-FPS counters. Thank you. So hopefully that helped your non-RGB loving soul, and if it did, make sure to leave a like down below and consider subscribing to the channel for more. As always guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.